What's up, YouTube? It's been a while since I uploaded a video, and I'm currently in Columbus right now, sitting on the side of the highway because I have a flat tire. A flat tire is an understatement. It's totally busted on the trailer, but luckily it's only one tire. But I just received a call from the services saying that, you know, the ETA for the ETA to get my tire changed will be less than 2 hours. So going from experience, it will be more than 2 hours. So yeah, I just thought I'd just take the time to make a video. But you know, just sitting down, I've been thinking, you know, how getting my CDL basically changed my life for the better. First of all, being a trucker wasn't a goal of mine, you know. I never in my life thought I would be doing something like this, but, you know, life just takes you different directions, and honestly, I do not regret it whatsoever. I went to college, got a bachelor's degree. I wanted to go into physical therapy, but a lot of things were going on during that time, and I felt like if I focused on school around that time, I would have had bad grades, because, you know, things in my life weren't going good. Nothing was, especially with relationships and my family. So yeah, I knew if I went, it would have been a bad decision. I would have just wasted money, and going to that kind of school, it's a lot of money. But when I got my bachelor's degree, I thought I could do something with it, you know. I thought I could go into social work with it, you know, and, you know, basically just work and, you know, save up a bit while I worked and then decide from there. But to go into social work, you need a master's degree, right? I thought a bachelor's degree was enough. I was told a bachelor's degree was enough, you know, with the degree that I got. But things had changed by the time that I got out. So yeah, or maybe I didn't do enough research, you know. I was told I can, you know, go into social work with it, but in New York there's a lot of competition. So yeah, it didn't pan out. So I had to change my mind, change what I focused on in terms of work that would bring me income. So I already knew I didn't want to work with people. I wanted to work with people, but not always surrounded by people. I didn't want to be in a building, stuck in there all day, just interacting with the same people all the time. I knew what I wanted, right? And the things that I wanted that will basically keep me away from that office setting was, you know, being a personal trainer and, you know, becoming a trucker. So I first focused on becoming a trucker, right? Well, not really a trucker. Luckily, on Indeed, I was able to find an agency that helped you get your CDL, right? And not the top of the line CDL, my Class C CDL. So I focused on that, and I got into paratransit. You basically work under the MTA for you basically work under the MTA, which I did for 2 years. And within that time, you know, it wasn't my passion, but I saw myself, you know, doing something like this, you know, in the future. So within that time, I thought about getting my Class B, you know, with the income that I was making. You know, I didn't want to do the same thing for the rest of my life. You know, I was making money. It wasn't good money. It was 14. I think we started at $14, and within the time that I left, we got up to like 17, I think, within 2 years. So it wasn't bad, but I knew I wanted more, right? So within that time, I trained to get my Class B. Luckily, I was able to find like a school bus company that trained you to get your Class B. So I acted like I was gonna work with them. And then after they helped me pass the test, after one day of like, going to see how the job was, I basically left, because I knew this was something I didn't want to do, especially working with kids. It's not that I don't like kids, it's just, the danger that's involved with, driving kids around, picking them up from school, their homes, taking them places. Like, I didn't want to, I just thought about getting into an accident or, something happening to the kids and, it being a problem. So yeah, I didn't want to have that kind of pressure on me. Yes, I'm a punk. I do not care. So I chose not to stay with them. So after I got my Class B, right, it took me a while before I actually found a job. It took me like, I'll say 4 months. And luckily, right before COVID happened, right, I was able to get a job with, what do you call it? Ready Refresh, Nestle Waters. Basically, delivering water and some other liquid products throughout New York, right? So I stayed with them for like 8 months. And the reason I stayed with them for 8 months, right? I planned on staying with them for a few years, right? But I saw they were starting to take advantage of me and my work ethic. So I decided not to stay with them. During that time, I was after I got that job with them, I was able to make what do you call it? It was basically 65K guaranteed for the year. It was salary based, right? So every 2 weeks, I think I was making like I know I took home like 1,800 every 2 weeks, right? 1,800 and some change every 2 weeks, which was comfortable, but honestly, I still wasn't happy with that, because if you did the math, that's like what, 900 per week. It's good money. It was good money around that time, but I wanted more, right? So I've always been thinking about going for my Class A, but I don't know, just driving these big trucks, it kind of put some fear into me. Like, I'm a paranoid person. I always think something bad is gonna happen. I know that's a bad, mentality to have, but that's just the kind of person that I am. I worry a lot, right? So yeah, that prevented me from going for the Class A straight away, right? So I basically creeped up to it. So after I quit, I remember once one day, right, like it was snowing, and I noticed these people had given me like almost 70 stops, right? And mind you, I'm delivering in Queens, Astoria, Brooklyn. And I'm telling you, like, most of these buildings didn't have stairs, A good amount of these buildings didn't have stairs. So just imagine having to take, how much did those bottles weigh? Like 45-pound bottles, like up and down stairs, like most of the day, And I'm not talking like just a couple bottles, like a lot of bottles, right? So already that was having an effect on my body, right? Even though I like being active, it's to a certain degree, If I'm killing myself, it better be worth the money, right? And I hate to sound ungrateful. I was getting good money around that time for the situation that I was in, but I aspired for more, basically. So, hey, and another thing, during that time, with me acquiring that job, I was able to move out. I was able to get an apartment in Queens, thanks to my my ex's family. And honestly, it felt great. Just the freedom of having to like come home, having my own place, having to find parking, easy parking. It was like heaven for me, because I literally spent most of my life in the Bronx, and once I got a car, I knew that I was in hell. I finally realized I was in hell, because you basically had to plan your day around parking. That's how life was in the Bronx if you had a car, right? You get to certain days, you didn't even want to move your car, even though you had an important event to go to. So yeah, that's the kind of life I was living with a car in the Bronx. It wasn't a good thing whatsoever. Okay, so yeah, I'm grateful for that job. But after I quit during the day, right? Because it just hit me that, yo, like, these people are taking advantage. Because I talked to the other drivers, and the stops that they had, it wasn't as much as mine. Like, these people were getting done like around, we'll start like around 6 in the morning. These other drivers were getting done like around, 2, sometimes even 1, up to 3 to 4, right? And I'll be done by like 7, and I'm still making the same as them, right? But I quit, I hated that it happened that way, because I mean, I'm not the type of person to quit, I quit. I planned like my last savings I used to like pay my rent. And during that time, I studied for the CDL, for the Class A, right? You had to know the parts of the truck, how it functioned, and some other stupid stuff that, most drivers literally forget after they get the license, right? They just want to make the entry, the entry to being a Class A driver hard. They want to make it challenging. I get it, right? I had to learn how to like parallel park, how to back up a trailer, how to maneuver a trailer through traffic, all that BS. It wasn't BS, it helped me, right? So I remember that I had like $1,000, right? No, $1,200 on a credit card that I had, right? I used that. I paid like 1,000 and some change for 10 lessons. 10 lessons. Sheesh, ashy hands. 10 lessons for a class in Brooklyn, right? And the funny thing is, like the same day that I signed up for the class, I think they made me sign up for the road test, right? And I convinced them to sign me up for the earliest road test, right? They asked me if I was sure, and I said yeah, because I felt confident, I've been driving Class A trucks. No, I've been driving Class C trucks, paratransit buses, and I drove straight trucks, side-loaded trucks, Class B trucks, for like, so I had like 3 years of experience altogether. I was familiar with the mirrors, and I feel like that's the most important thing. I was comfortable with it, being behind a big vehicle, so I felt comfortable. I told them to like sign me up for 10 lessons, right? And I basically condensed it into 1 week, right? So on some days I was training for like 2 hours, right? So and I'm telling you, like when I was home, I was literally studying the parts for the test, the parts of the truck and the trailer for the test, remembering every part in my head, watching videos of people backing up, maneuvering the trailer, everything, man. Like I was focused. Me, if I set my sight on something, like I become addicted to it, like it becomes my main thing. So yeah, that's the kind of personality that I have. So after that 1 week, I was able to pass the test on the first try, right? I got my license. I was elated, because I felt like, yo, like I'm heading in the right direction, right? So after I got my license, I decided to go over the road, right? I've always been fascinated with going over the road. So I decided to go with Schneider. I had my, what do you call it? I had my hazmat, I had my tanker endorsements. What else did I have? I had my passenger endorsement as well, but that doesn't matter. What else did I have? Yeah, I had those endorsements, right? So I was able to make more money when I got to Schneider because they had hazmat, what do you call it? They had hazmat loads. So I do not remember a time. I was with them for like 5 months. I don't remember a time where I've been made to sit down because I'm waiting for a load. There was never a time for that, because every time I dropped off a load or picked up a load, I already had one waiting for me. Because having those endorsements, having the hazmat endorsement, made it easy to always have loads available to me. So yeah, I made a lot of money during that time. I'll say like around 1,400, and I'm talking about take home. When I talk in terms of money, I always talk about take home. I don't think about gross whatsoever. Because me, it's pointless, right? I was taking home 1,400 to 1,600 per week, right? Plus, before I went over the road, right, I had given up my apartment, so all that money was going straight to my bank. The only payments that I was making were my phone and my car payments, right? And that was about it. So I'm telling you, in a month, I was making great money. I was making close to 6K a month. Even on some days, on some months, I'll make 6K thanks to my bonuses, right? And thanks to the some other incentives that they add, right? Even some weeks I was making close to 1,800 per week, right? But things didn't go according to plan. I got into an incident which they were forced to terminate me. And I'm telling you, like, after after they terminated me, like, I was so devastated. Like, I'm telling you, I was going through some personal stuff. Oh, hold on, they're calling me. Apologies, I just got a call from the tire services saying that they'll be here in an hour. So yeah. So where was I? Yeah, I got fired, and I'm telling you, like, I never experienced depression, right? But I was depressed. Like, I finally experienced depression after I got fired, because I felt like I had ruined my plan. Like, I had everything, my life planned out, I was gonna do this over the road thing for 2 years. By that time, I'd paid off my student loans, I'd paid off my car, I'll get out of debt, and then be able to invest in some things that I was interested in. I was even thinking of getting my own truck to drive for myself, and make more money. But I got fired, and when you get fired in trucking, right, like, it's like you have to start all over again. So I was able to find a company that would take me, like, basically a second chance company. I was able to find one, and I chose Trans Am, right? And I'm telling you, like, even during that time, my ex, my girl during that time, broke up with me during that time. I found out that she was cheating on me, Mind you, I'd been with her for like 6 years, We had our ups and downs, every relationship has that. But her first year in law school, her first semester, right? she was able to, like, cheat on me. She cheated on me, right? So I found out, and I'm telling you, like, it just added more. Even though I was able to, like, find a company, like, I was making way less money. There were other stuff, stuff involved in terms of, like, working with the company and how they work that didn't sit right with me. And yeah, it just added to the depression and everything. But, like, luckily, one of my friend's cousins, right, had a trucking company, and I was convinced to like work with him after talking to him. So I moved out here to Ohio and I worked 2 years with him. And I've never worked with a family company before, but it has its benefits and it has its drawbacks as well. So yeah, I experienced both, but after those 2 years, I'm not gonna go into the details. It's in the past. I don't want to talk about it. But after 2 years of working with them, I chose to come to US Foods, thanks to my friend convincing me. After I told him like the potential this job has in terms of making money. You could easily make 6 figures with this job. It's not a lie. It's not misinformation. It's legit. You can make 6 figures easily working in food services. And honestly, I'm looking at my I started in April, right? April 2024, right? I looked at how much money I made in that short time. Because when you start, I don't know how it is in other places, right? But they basically don't throw you out there, they take your time with you, right? So you're working way less than 40 hours per week, right? It also depends on some other factors if they really need drivers, but if they don't, they'll let you sit down. Some days they'll let you come in and send you home, right? I'll talk about that in a later video. But yeah, I was working way less than 40 hours a week. On a few weeks, I'll work like just about 40, but it was rare. So I'll say 3 months into working with them, that's when I was able to start making good money, like the legit money. And that money that I made, right, in that short time to the end of the year, I'm telling you, like, I'm shocked when I look back, right? So yeah, how the fuck did pause? How the hell did this video? Like, I don't even know where I'm going with this anymore. It's a long-winded video, but yeah, hey, you can always get out if you want, man. You can always dislike if you want. Me, I don't care. It's my channel. I will do whatever I want with it. I'm just giving information. I'm just giving experience from my point of view. So yeah. So whatever you want to do. You have your choice. You have your freedom. Yeah. You have your choice. You have your freedom. It's America. Or wherever you are, hey, do what you want to do. You can choose to stay or you don't. That's it. I'm not forcing you to. So yeah, started from this year, right, till now, the money that I've made, and I'm not bragging or anything, right? This is just to convince somebody to actually think about it, right? Yes, the work is hard, right? And you know what? I've gotten to the point where it's easy for me. Like, I'm a physically fit person. I'm not bragging. Like, I take training seriously. I take, taking care of my body very seriously, right? So it's the job is nothing to me. Like, I literally feel like it's the easiest money I've ever made in my life. The easiest money, because I compared this to my time on the road, right, doing OTR. Even though I was making good money around that time, right? I compared this to that. Just imagine sitting, and I'll make another video about that, just comparing the two sides, right? Just imagine sitting behind the wheel, right, for like 11 hours a day, 8 to 11 hours a day, right? Just driving, staring at the highway, staring at your what do you call it? Staring at your wheels, staring at your windshield all day, right? Just sitting, sitting and eating. And when you get to your stop, you just unload the stuff, right? Like that, doing that, and compared to this where you have multiple stops a day, where you get to go into your trailer and unload, you know, get out, be active, interact with people. I'm telling you, it's a stark difference. Like it's you see and feel the change in you as the person. You know, it's good for you. Like I'm an introvert. I don't like really interacting with people, but like when I interact with people, it's refreshing. You know. So yeah, so that's basically it. One thing is that right now I'm currently making. I'm only scheduled to work 4 days a week, right? So because I do layovers, right? I do layovers, or they call it overnight routes, right? So like I said, I basically go to Cleveland. On my way there, I do multiple stops, spend the night over there, finish up my stops, and then come back. You know, sometimes I even bring back a load, right? So I get close to like 14 hours a day, right? I do that two times a week. On Wednesdays, they sometimes call me to come in, right? But they slow down on asking me to come in recently, because you know, I heard it's upper management. They want to save as much money as they can, so they literally give it to like other people who need it. And I'm not mad about it, right? It upset me at first because I was making close to $1,800 per week when I was working 5 days a week, right? But now I'm making I'm making around $1,600 a week, right? So I mean, when I think about it, right? I'm only working, what do you call it? I'm only working 4 days a week, earning around $1,600, between $1,500 to $1,600, even more per week. So hey, I'm happy with that. And like I said, this job, it's nothing. It's the easiest job, the easiest money I've ever made. And like I've gotten to the point where like I'm even thinking about, I've gotten to the point where I can help my loved ones like right off the bat. Like I don't even have to think about it, you know? Like I could send money back home. If my sister needs something, I could give it to her without even me thinking about it. She needed a new phone, and I'm not bragging. Like I was able to get it for her, and I didn't even think about it. My nieces, they need something. I just told them, hey, put it into the cart. I'll buy it for you when I'm free. Like that's something I've always like wanted to be able to do, and like thank God, everything that happened to me led me here, you know, because I'm telling you, if you asked me like a few years back, I'd be in this position. I would not believe it, because I literally thought I'd ruined everything in my life, you know. There was even a point I was thinking about moving back home and like starting all over again, going back to school and like doing something in the medical field. But I mean, that plan is still there. Well, not moving back home. Like I actually want to go back to school in the future, but for now I'm just focused on stacking my money, you know. And yeah, I honestly don't know where this video is going, but get your CDL. It's worth it. I've seen a lot of videos of, you know, people complaining, saying that, you know, it's a scam, you know, being a trucker is a scam. There's a lot of bad companies out there. Yeah, there's a lot of bad companies out there. Like it's every fucking where. Honestly, it's everywhere. Just do your research, do your due diligence, and yeah, you'll be all right. Like, listen, nothing in life comes easy. All right. Like I'm at a comfortable place in my life right now. Legit, I'm at a comfortable place, and that feeling is so good. A lot of people I know are suffering, but you know, I live in paycheck to paycheck. But yeah, and there are opportunities out there. Just look into it and see if it works out for you. All right, I'm done.